think I've read them for other classes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
too.
read One Kind of Money like 3 times this semester.
So, Kristen, you're going to have all the answers tonight then.
Okay, so step 2 says we have to list at least 3 things we will apply. He should have said it. Please list in your report 3 things that you from these. So it's bad.
So one of the things that I thought of is just, because we're also talking about budget, but for me, it was just to look at some ways to actually trim the budget a little bit and start saving, for me, to start kind of building up a savings account in addition to, all the other stuff. But, for me was just to kind of have that little bit of saving. I like the thing where it said, when you pay things off, put that money aside and either save it, for the next purchase, or just make it a savings account. I thought that was great.
Yeah, we need to really do that, with our family, because we just paid off our house and we were like, yeah, cool. Now we won't have a house payment. And if we don't redo our budget to reflect that, then, we'll just be a lot more free with things. We'll go out to eat more, or we'll do, different things. And then, a year or two will go by and we'll be like, where'd all that money go? So yeah, that's something I wanted to do, is look at our budget and redo it, adjust it for that change.
I think one of the things we need to make sure is always focusing on tithing, making sure we're paying well.
What I thought was interesting was in the How Many Loaves article is growth of money savings at 5%. Where can you find 5% right now?
Yeah, that's a pretty tough one. Have you guys seen the thing? There's some money manager guy that shows how you can have a new car every 5 years.
I watched that. It's Dave Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it kind of follows that same principle where if you're able to manage your money and be conservative for just a little bit, it'll really pay off the rest of your life.
So what is his plan for every 5 years a new car? Because car payments generally are 5 to 7 years in length, car loans.
Yeah, maybe Google it, because he explains it a lot better. But basically what you do is if you have a car payment, go ahead and go until that car is paid off, and then continue, and then you take what that car payment is, like $300 or $400 a month. You take that car payment, and for the next 2 years, so let's say you have a 6-year car loan. So when your car's paid off and it's 6 years old, you keep putting away that $300 or $400 a month for the next 2 years, and then you sell that car and take the money that you had and buy a less expensive car. I don't know, it's kind of like that. And then once you do that, then I don't know. I can't remember now. Kristen, maybe can remember.
Well, I have actually found the link to the video on YouTube. I can send it to you guys. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's been a while since I've watched it, but pretty much like what you're saying. You just keep paying a payment for a car that you don't have, and then eventually, like, you save up enough money to buy a better car. So you start up, like, the guy wants, it talks about how you want to, like, buy a sports car right off the bat and all that, but you should just buy a junker and then, like, keep paying and working up to it, kind of, and then eventually, like, you'll be saving enough to just buy cars with cash rather than having to have a car payment.
It's kind of like what companies do when they are planning for capital expenditures. They know they're going to need to replace this piece of equipment, so they basically chunk it up so that when they actually do need to replace it, the cash is there.
Yeah, but I put the link to, it's called Drive Free Cars by Dave Ramsey. I sent a YouTube link on the group chat on here if you want to go watch it sometime. It's pretty good. I liked it.
Hey, thanks.
One of the other ones that I talked about too, or that I got just probably because I'm thinking about it and I'm getting ready to go meet with my tax advisor, is just to talk about with my tax advisor about the financial structure of my 401k and how to maximize that, with my employer, and how to maximize, the match and everything, so that I'm getting the best return on my 401k, and looking at ways to trim my budget. Maybe I can put some of that money back into the 401k plan to prepare for that retirement. That was one of the other ones. The other things I thought about is to talk with somebody who knows.
An expert.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that, I don't know if it was in one of the talks, but one of the things I like, somebody gave me some advice. They said, look at the person in your ward that you think is, doing well financially, and then ask them if you can spend a little bit of time, talking to them. When I was a young married guy, there was a guy in our ward that he seemed like he had money coming out his ears. And so I sat down with him one time and asked him, and he said, do you want to know the secret to getting rich? I'm like, yeah, what is it? And he said, well, you got 24 hours in a day. He said, most people work 8 hours a day, and most people are going to sleep about 8 hours a day. He said, what you do with the other 8 hours, that's your discretionary time, he said, that's going to determine, whether you're rich or not. He said, if you work the other 8 hours or use that 8 hours to figure out ways to make money, he said, you're going to get rich. He said, but you might not have a very good family life. But he had been a plumber, and he said he worked 16 hours a day and grew the plumbing business and everything. And he said he almost lost his family. And then he figured, okay, so with that other 8 hours, I got to split it half and half between the plumbing business and half with my family. And he said that it worked. And so I think the thing that we can get from these and talking about money is balance. You got to have balance.
You also made me think about making sure we're on the same page with our spouse, make sure we have the same goals, make sure that if there's a problem, we talk about it. And, if one person's doing the bills or the budgeting, make sure the other person knows what's going on. If there's any questions, work them out. I think in the talk, one for the money Elder Ashton talks about that.
Well, it's especially helpful so that when I'll call them the controlling spouse, the spouse in charge of finance, if they should pass away, it can really leave surviving spouse with big headache if surviving spouse doesn't know what's going on.
An example of what happened with me and my wife after when we started having kids, we stayed home. At that time, started taking care of the finances, and then about 3 or 4 years ago, she started a salon, so she was doing the finances there and here at home. And then I thought, well, that's probably not a very good idea to do all that, and I thought it'd be too much for her. So I took him back over, and I hadn't done him for probably, I want to say 15 years. So one of the good things about that was, the classes I've taken through BYU Idaho, a lot of finance classes and other things have really helped me, and had a lot of better ideas with budgeting and all that. So it's worked out really well.
It's about being on the same page.
Yeah, luckily I work at the financial institution where my account is at. So my husband balances the checkbook here, and I can actually look and see what's going on every single day.
How's that for putting all your eggs in one basket?
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
So if something happens to the bank, your 401k's out the door, your checking account's out the door. Yeah.
No, I do have investments other places, but they do have the majority of my stuff right now. So.
Well, we should move on. We got a lot of stuff here, and I think Zach mentioned he's got to leave about 6:45, so or 6:45 your time, whichever time it is.
6:45, I'm on your time.
Okay.
In about 15 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Woohoo! As a group, discuss the salary you believe you'll earn during the first year of employment after you graduate. Everybody here except for Kristen, you just look like a college kid.
I am a college kid. Yeah. So I've been in school since 2014.
And what are your goals?
My goal? Well, I'm working towards becoming an administrative assistant. I'm getting married and all this finance stuff. I don't know much about it. So my goal right now is to learn all about it so I can handle life.
Good. Congratulations, too.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I know we have to create a budget and all that, and I'm in a personal finance class right now, and I have like a budget to actual template sheet on Excel that we can use. My teacher gave it to me. I don't know if I'm allowed to like use it in both classes or not though.
Yeah, that's what I did. I had one from a previous class I had taken, and I just, I updated it because it's been,
Okay.
that's what I did.
Yeah. It's kind of like a template, so I haven't filled it in yet, but I didn't know if I wanted to use it or not.
Yeah, I remember I did that from a math class.
Yeah, I've done it for a couple classes now. I did it for Math 108, and then I took money management a couple years ago, and now I'm in Intro to Finance, and we're doing them again.
So I'm assuming they want us to make a budget on what we believe our projected income is, rather than our current income.
That's what it says.
Is that okay? That's what I thought.
I did it on our current income because my income's not going to change when I graduate. At least not right away.
Yeah, I do the same. I think it's, I mean, you could, I wouldn't say make it up, but I mean, a lot of it is, not everything is set.
Yeah, I think
it's,
oh, go ahead.
I think it's not about what numbers that you use, it's about learning the.
Right.
Well, and I used a template that my bishop gave us in a finance class that he taught us in gospel doctrine one time.
That's cool.
So I don't know if it's going to be anywhere near what we need, but since this is the first class I've done a budget in. So.
You work at a bank. You should be good at that. My husband and I tried to sit down and do it, but we actually sat down and did this for a little bit. It's so intense that you write every single thing down that you spend every single day. And we tried that for a little bit. It was interesting. Interesting good or interesting bad?
It was interesting good. It just taught us to not frivolously spend, and that the other part of that too is that we figured out how to that we are going to be out of debt in about 4 years. So we went from a 30-year mortgage down to about a 10-year mortgage at that time, and we are now close to being completely out of debt in 4 years. So
that's awesome.
We changed our financial structure and saw that we were doing things a little bit frivolously, and that we could actually make things better. So we kind of juggled our payments, and it's been good since then. So.
And I think that's what these lessons are all about. They're about trying to get you to see where you can make improvements.
Right. Well, and so just for you guys, so I'm going back to school with, when I get my degree, in talking with my boss before I went back to school, I will have the opportunity to go back and sit with him and hopefully at least apply to get a VP position, which would come with about a 3 grade level change in my employment. So I have big motivation to get this done, because it would come with a probably pretty substantial raise as well. So this next 2 years is I'm gonna fight through it.
There you go.
There's a carrot at the end of that.
Sounds like we have space aliens.
Yeah.
Lorelei, we're having a hard time hearing you.
I just said I'm getting some feedback that sounds like there are space aliens in our communication.
Oh.
I think we're getting some bleed through from another chat.
My roommate is in the next room talking to her mom.
Oh.
That's probably it.
That's the alien you're hearing.
My apartment has really thin walls.
Are we ready to move on to the spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Okay. Does everyone know Excel well enough to know how to do this easy?
Yeah, you just double click on the box at the top and it copies the formulas down.
Yep. That's what I did too.
Okay. And then you just put a cross-check formula at the bottom because they're all summed up the bottom. So you want to do the G15 minus the O15 so that you make sure that all the columns come up correct. Cross-check. And I don't know how it works in other states, but we have more things to deduct here in California, more taxes.
I can imagine.
So, but the process is the same. You just add other columns.
Does anybody want to double check their math against somebody else?
Sure.
Okay, so what did you get for total, the net pay total?
Okay, let me go. So net pay total, I had 4652.72.
That's what I got. I think we're good.
Okay.
How about total deduction? Actually, I'm looking at my spreadsheet. I don't know what the other thing says. Does it ask for every single one of those?
So that's all the things in yellow?
Yeah, so I got 1233.28.
Yep, that's what I got for deductions.
Is that what you got, Zach?
Yep, that's what I got.
Okay.
How about you, Kristen?
So I actually didn't realize I was supposed to do it all before the meeting. So I haven't gone through the spreadsheet yet.
Okay.
But I can do that.
You know, it's funny because the document that they have for the application, it's just like tables and Word. It's like, I was like, man, I should import this to a spreadsheet. And then I opened up the thing for the group meeting. I'm like, oh, and I like compared the two. I'm like, yeah, it's the same, except for some of the names don't have the second initial on the one for the application.
Oh, funny.
But the data's all same. I haven't done the application yet. The data's all the same?
Yep. Yeah, I was checking the hourly rates, the number of hours. I'm like, cool. It's all the same.
Oh, nice. I'm going to make a note of that.
Yeah, so I just cut and pasted the Excel spreadsheet into the Word document for the application part. So yeah.
I love it when there are shortcuts like that.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up. This is actually our big conference weekend, so it's going to be a pretty busy weekend.
So did you guys, so just a quick question on that assignment. Did you copy and paste the petty cash spreadsheet into your document?
No, I actually did the thing with their stupid table.
Okay. I did that too, so.
But I didn't make up a bunch of little slips with my signature on it.
Yeah, somebody said where to find those, and they were a pain in their, you know what, to copy and paste in there.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done with step 4 then, maybe?
I think we're done with step 4. So going on to step 5, what are some of the consequences that you can have if you engage in unethical payroll or other financial documents?
I've got a little story if you guys want to hear it. It has to do with payroll too.
Okay.
One of my stepsister's husband, he had a business consulting. Kristen, maybe just mute your mic when you're not talking because it is coming through.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Okay. So it's still coming through.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, so my wife's stepsister's husband had a business consulting company, and they did consulting for other businesses. And one of the things that they offered was a payroll service. He had a couple of partners in this business. Well, one of his partners was not paying other companies payroll deductions, the FICA and the payroll taxes. And because her step brother-in-law was the CFO, but the other guy that was handling that side of the business kind of hid it to, so their books would look better, and he didn't catch it. And well, he eventually did catch it, but it ended up that they owed hundreds of thousands of dollars, I guess. And
Are you there?
I think we just lost Norm.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll come right back.
Well, guys, I have to leave. I have to take my daughter to basketball practice. So, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Zach.
Okay. We'll see you next time.
See you next week.
I had a friend whose husband was offered to have his retirement paid out in cash, and he did not file tax returns for 3 years surrounding that. And so, again, payment of taxes was a very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. I deal with payroll as well, and we so one of the things where employees, so we had, hi Norm.
okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, so he actually reported it and was trying to work out a way to pay or whatever, but the government wasn't having any of that, and they charged him and a couple of his other partners. The guy that had actually done it pled and got 3 years. My wife's brother-in-law got 18 months in federal penitentiary, even though he was the one that reported it. But because he was the CFO for the company, they kind of held him responsible for it. And I talked to him a little bit about it. It was kind of interesting. And one of the things that he mentioned was you just don't mess around with the government. He had a pretty good attorney, but even the attorney said that the government's successful prosecution rate is 98% when it comes to these types of cases. And so everybody pleads out, because, they're going after him for 5 or 10 years or something like that. So he said, even if you didn't know, had nothing to do with it, they'll probably still get you. And so he pled and served 18 months or something like that. But
wow,
that's a good reason to not pay your taxes. And Annette had started on this story when you dropped off. We'll let her finish her story.
Well, and mine is kind of even, it's on a small scale, but it ended up impacting all of our employees. We offer incentives for employees to cross-sell our products. And some of them we could track, some of them we couldn't. We just went on the fact that we trusted them to cross-sell and to do what we were asking them to do. And so we started seeing a spike in incentives in several people, several different of our locations. And so then we really had to sit and take a look at it, and we found out they were just writing down incentives that they weren't technically earning. And so because of that, we came back as a management, and they took out 75% of the incentives that our employees used to have. And now that they can only get incentives on what we can technically track. So it impacted every single employee because they were trying to pad their payroll. We had one employee that was at the end was making $22 an hour as a teller. And that's kind of what spiked our spiked what we thought, okay, there's got to be something going on. And she was having some issues and needed some extra funds. And so she was doing that by padding her incentives. So it ended up hurting all of the employees in the end, because there were several of them, but because go ahead, Lorelai.
I just said she started it.
She did. But it's tough because I think, sometimes these things, and especially people in the payroll department, if they get involved with fraud, it can hurt. If you have employees that are, involved in fraud, we have terminated employee for payroll embezzlement and in the past. And so, there's some consequences to employees and to an employer. I mean, you could, like, Norma's talking about, I'm sure this company, they could go out. I mean, they could go under for these kind of crimes, and then other people lose their job because of these decisions. So, kind of makes it difficult.
Like one bad apple spoils all of them.
Right. Yep. And then bottom line, you don't want to mess with the government.
Yep.
Bottom line.
Sid, do you have anything to say? Any stories to tell? Turn your mic on. Unmute it.
Okay, I got it.
Did you have any stories to tell or any comments? Well, I want you to feel like we shut you out.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I don't remember all the numbers that were involved, but so I'm from Missouri. Right now I'm in Rexburg in Idaho, but back home we have this grocery store called Hy-Vee, and they do this gas incentive thing. They have a gas station, and so if you spend so much money on certain things in the store, you get money off of gas. If you use it at their gas station, you have to have like a membership card, like a lot of grocery stores have, And this girl, she was 17, and she was, instead of giving the customers their fuel points, she was scanning them as her own. And she, ended up, I don't know, she racked up, thousands of dollars worth of free gas. And the store caught on to it, and she's in high school, she's 17. She got fired, and they told her she had to pay it back, or they were gonna sue her. I mean, that's just crazy, to be 17 and to be doing that kind of stuff. And then her poor parents probably had to step in and pay a ton of money for it, and it just affects everybody. So my little story.
Yeah, you just have to be ethical.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think that's the biggest thing that we're learning is, which is cool in the classes, because I was really interested that even though we talked about these first three, some of our other discussions, we really applied a lot of this to the church. And this one, we kind of did a little bit, but not as much. So I was a little surprised at that. But I thought, I guess the biggest part is to stay true to who you are, and make sure that you're honest, you have integrity, because that really will take you far in business.
I agree.
Yep. Cool. Okay. So anything else we need to talk about? I think that was it, right?
I think so. The other ones were if you have other questions. So.
Yeah, I don't think I have any other questions. I just hope I can budget correctly. I did put $500 in travel, and I was like, okay, that was really dumb. Per month. I'm like,
if your income's enough to support it, that's good. That's fine.
that was one of those hopeful columns. I don't
Good to have hope.
Yeah, I don't think my boss would like that too much.
Well, just think about how much larger they'll be expanding. You'll have a larger area to go around to.
Well, I figured it would help a little bit. I have like 483 vacation hours I got to use. I figured I could budget for that. Oh, gosh.
Again, you're not looking at actual numbers except for that you're living within your means. So go bold, go big.
That's so true. And I'm going to Hawaii because we just got 14 inches of snow.
Ah.
Where are you?
Kristen? I'm in Pocatello.
Oh, yeah, poor thing. You got it worse down there than we do.
Yeah, 2 days ago it was completely clear. No snow, nothing.
All the snow finally melted, and I was so happy. And then I woke up this morning.
Yes, in the last 2 days we've gotten 14 inches. It's lovely. I'm ready to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, back home yesterday it was 78 degrees in Missouri.
Oh gosh, crazy. Well, all right, friends.
Thanks so much.
I think we have lots to do, and we'll talk to you guys next Friday.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much.
All right. See you then.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.